But if you look at this label, you will find 90% of the time, United Nations, that it's written in small, almost unintelligible, I would say legible letters. You have to look real closely. Some of these packages, you will need a magnifying glass to even be able to recognize that it is saying that the package or the container is containing what is known as bioengineered products. All of its food right now is pretty much laced to a point where it has bioengineered chemicals in it. We're not saying all of those chemicals are damaging or dangerous, but who wants to say what is damaging or what is dangerous in a product of such? For the matter of fact, you have Pfizer, you have Moderna, you have all of the would-be systems just recently that sent out nothing more than vaccines based upon what is still carrying on the planet, known as COVID virus or COVID-19. And we know that that's corporation versus identification in the 19th century and beyond. We already know exactly what the capabilities are. Yes, we are the only ones with this information, and we have to be truthful with you. But you have to understand, we are the least right now being listened to, and that's all over the planet. We already know that. Even though we have billions of people listening to us right now, we know that we are the least listened to, if we might have to say, in the United States of America. And the United States of America, if it might be still classified as the world's example for everything on the planet, it still has a hope or a grasp or a grip on the rest of the world whereby it's everybody's would-be so-called problem. It's everyone's problem. The U.S. of A. is everyone's problem. Because they have such a large, huge following based upon them claiming to be a rich nation and a wealthy nation, they're able to appeal to those nations of a third world. They're able to appeal to a nation that's a starving nation. They have the ability to appeal to what is known as poor nations. And right now, we have to be honest with you that if we have to put it on a scale of percentage, we're looking at about 78 to 80% of the nations on this planet are nations that can be classified as poor nations or in that category where they might be listening to the examples of the United States of America, not realizing that the examples that are coming out of the United States of America is not coming from the American would-be so-called government. It's not coming from the American leadership. It's coming from those of us that are part of the global reset, that we are truly the only America that you have, and we do not classify, neither can we claim to be the United States of America, neither will we classify or claim to be a United States of American citizen, because we know that citizenship on all of the planets and in all nations and in all cities and states represented now, the word citizen is nothing more than a terrorist would-be so-called organization. And according to the United States of America, it was written in law back in 2008, signed in an executive would-be order by one known as Barack Hussein Obama. And we're not attacking him. I don't believe that Mr. Obama at that given time, I don't believe that he even had the knowledge of knowing exactly what he was signing. I don't believe that he really even paid any attention to what he was signing. I do believe that the overall would-be excitement of him being classified as the first black president, the first black leader, the first black first man, I do believe that kind of just overwhelmed him to a point where everything that was placed on his table, it was signed. In regard to just being able to put his name, Barack Hussein Obama, on it, gave him a classic feel of being the greatest in all worlds, to include this world in which we so reside in. I do believe it gave him such a would-be, a rush of excitement, that it was almost like him ultimately going to an ultimate world whereby no one was able to become greater or even an equal to him. And those are the things that we must caution all the leaders out there now on this desire to be the greatest. And that's what got men like, we will have to name them like that. It got Stalin in trouble. It got men like Superman. I'm just bringing that out because we need you to understand that because of this would-be world of wanting to be the greatest, the most powerful, it got Hitler in trouble. It got Stalin in trouble. And along the way, it's gotten many of great leaders in trouble for just desiring to be the greatest of all. And Napoleon, Alexander the Great, if we might give these individuals any name of a title. It got them all in trouble because they desired to be greatest of the greatest. They found themselves putting themselves on a level playing with God. They became their own God, and they believed that they became everyone else's God, and thereby they kind of found themselves placing everyone in a manner whereby they were nothing more than servants. And it got them all in trouble. So whereby now we find ourselves digging out of nothing more than the dungeon of a ditch to make our way back to live a life where everyone will find themselves being an equal on the planet and not having to serve unless he so desires to serve. United Nations, I know the time has been well spent, and I so always enjoy coming to you in a manner to bring you up to date on the things of this life of reality of truth, knowing that we all must come to a point of sitting down to agree rather than to claim or proclaim something we call agree to disagree. You disagree, we have to tell you in the world that we come from, which is classified to you as heaven, where all the angels, they sit down and they sit before a man they call God. They never get to disagree. And if they do, they find themselves dropping through a trap door through hell where there is no bottom. It's called the bottomless pit. So you don't find any disagreements in heaven. And as the prayer in which you have been praying, it says, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You're about to allow that will to be done here on earth as it is in heaven, and that means you will only agree. Because if you disagree, you're going to be dropped through a trap door, straight to hell, a bottomless pit, where you will not return. If all of you that don't find that as any fear, you don't find that threatening, you don't find that as a promise, you really can care less about it, then I say, be on your merry way. We won't miss you just as you won't miss us. You will just be floating through hell on your own. And you can assure yourself, no one will visit you, no one will bother you. No one is going to interfere with whatever you're going to have going on, but you won't be here. I can assure you that. But we got work to do. I looked out my window, United Nations. God Almighty, it is now day. Man must work while it's still day, for when night coming, no man can work. My work is always going on. I'm up with the sick. I'm down with those that will be classified as being hungry. I'm also up with those that have a little small bite to eat every now and then. But it's okay. I know for a fact that my Father is greater, for he tells even me and you, he says, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? I would say to you, what is it worth? Well, with that being said, me looking outside, seeing the light, knowing that I'm a man, again, I repeat, must work while it's still day, for when night coming, no man can work. It's time for me to go to work. As for you, United Nations, the wars are going to keep coming. They won't stop. Just because someone says that there's going to be peace, just because one declares that they're going to sit down in some summit, whether it be in Davos or whether it be in Moscow or whether it be in Brazil or whether it even be in Brussels, I need you to understand that it has already been written. When man says peace, there shall be nothing more than war. Wars and rumors of wars, but the end will not be yet. There will be mothers against daughters and fathers against sons, and vice versa. But at the same time, again, I say the end will not be yet. So we must fight on until victory is won. Get you some rest, United Nations. You've earned it. Yes, you deserve it. And yes, my Father, your Father, says you're worthy of it. Get your rest, peace and love, and nightfall.
Thank you, Yahoshua. And thank you, family, for joining us. It's Wednesday, therefore we do have the Global Network update call this evening at 8:30 Central Standard Time. We look forward to being with many of you at that time as well. In the meantime, family, we love you. You know that. We're working constantly on your behalf. Take this opportunity to get your rest if it's dark in your area. It's light on ours, and you know we're always working on your behalf. We always bring to you John 17:14 through 17. I, Yahoshua, have given them your word, Father Yah, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world.